we have a basic wellness focus centre, and that's what we look at, is try to get your immune system. As we work, like John does, on your immune system, because after all, the immune system is the only thing that will cure you. No drug will, or no chemical will. It all gets back to your immune system. So to have a thing like Delamune V, which is really, I believe, it just kick-starts your immune system. It's the first line of defence when something comes. It sets the fragments of the cell mitochondria, and of course it's tiny, tiny particles of it. So to use the word, your body is infested with this wonderful stimulant to kick-start your immune system, just makes sense. We actually have a double-barrel shotgun here, which I'll talk to John about later, because we also produce a very good quality colloidal metallic silver. So if you get the combination of the colloidal metallic silver and you get your immune system all fired up, and both of these have tremendous, let's call it killing power or immobilising power for these pathogens. And the wonderful thing about both of these products, they leave the good guys alone. Because this is one of the good guys. The lactobacillus bacteria is in your yogurt and stuff like that. And this is what we say. This reinforces your immune system. So it's a 2 + 2 equals 10 probably.
Well, when you've got the colloidal silver working together with Delamune, you've got a symbiotic situation or symbiotic setup that's going to really make things work pretty well.
There's no doubt about that. And what's more, we also now, this is going to be interesting for you, because I'm going to talk about Russian technology in the form of the Physiospect, which was the incredible development of this wonderful machine which the cosmonauts took into space, and the cosmonauts came back from space with the appropriate sicknesses and things that they should have got in space, and they took about 3 or 4 days to get over their space journeys. The Americans, or the astronauts, went into space, and they took up a very large box of drugs and chemicals, and they came back from space, and they took between 12 and 18 months to get over some of the sicknesses they brought back, and some of them never did. So I really knew who had the best technology in the space race. That's going back a fair way. All right. So the technology from the space race was developed after the space race into the medical fraternity, and they developed the Physiospect. Now, why I'm bringing this into the subject is because we have a Physiospect, and again, like Delamune, it's very new to Australia, and I think there's only about 20, maybe 30 of these machines in Australia. We've had one for about 2.5, 3 years, and we can actually measure the viruses and the bacteria and the funguses. We can measure the level that they are in your body. Today,
does that cut you off?
Absolutely. Yes, today. You
yes,
follow
I am
that?
going to
And then we can measure you a week later, a month later, and we can tell whether it's getting better or worse. Now, the combination of Delamune, and this will interest you, the combination of Delamune and the colloidal silver, after someone's been on this for about 4 or 5 weeks, we cannot find a bacteria, a virus, or a fungus.
Is that true? The whole lot have gone.
This is not opinion-based medicine. This is computerized, factual medicine, and this is undisputed. Now, I tried to get a scientific study done on this, done by Professor Whitehouse at Griffith University, but the problem is there's so few Physiospects in Australia, i.e. probably 10 or 15 in commercial production, that some poor PhD student trying to do her PhD on this would not have enough statistical evidence. But it's an observation based on science through the scientific part of the Griffith University in Brisbane, and they're aware of it.
Let me hitchhike on that. When Luba was the Dean of the Institute of Biotechnology, it's the first Institute of Biotechnology in Kyiv in Ukraine. One of her staff members specializes in this machine.
Physiospect, good Lord.
And we had Delamune. He did an analysis of what parts of the body does Delamune work in, and he did a very thorough examination and told us precisely which cells it's affecting and how it's affecting it, and what's the magnitude of the response with all of these cells. And so what you're talking about is a concept that was originally developed by General Electric of measuring some interesting wavelengths that are detectable now with
the frequencies.
Yeah. And they're doing research on this in Ukraine because what they do, what he does, is when someone is diagnosed with a disease, they take the machine in and they process all the information from a patient with that disease, and they record it in the computer. And they get another patient with that disease, they record that again, and they get enough samples so that they know what the wavelengths are for this particular disease. They have hundreds of diseases now. And so then when somebody with an unknown disease comes in and they go through this process, the computer sorts out which disease this patient has, and it confirms the diagnosis of the doctor. It's a magnificent concept.
John, let me piggyback on you. We see so much wrong diagnosis from the opinion-based medicine. Now, this is going right in the face of orthodox medicine, but the fact is it's true, and it's computerised as a fact, because this is not opinion-based medicine, this is computer-controlled, and the statistical amount of energy that the Russians put into the development of the Physiospect was not thousands of people, it was millions of people, and you're comparing somebody of your age, your gender and your blood type with what you call your virtual body. And it's not comparing me with an Olympic athlete or me with John, it's comparing someone my age, my gender, my blood type. And it can very sensitively pick up by the use of frequencies, because every cell, every organ, everything has a different frequency in your body. And it can pick up the frequency of these nasty bacteria, the Lactobacillus crustacea can be picked up, and so can Streptococcus aureus, and so can chronic, the Epstein-Barr virus, and there it is on the screen.
Yeah.
And you see them, they come into us originally, and they're roaring with this, chronic fatigue with Epstein-Barr virus. We say, okay, you're going to walk out of here today with your Delamune V and your Colloidal silver, and come back in a week and a fortnight and 3 weeks later, and you can see this thing going down and down and down, and all of a sudden it disappears off the radar.
Let me confirm what you're saying, because we have many people that use colloidal silver with our product. They use it with a lot of different products, but the question I always ask is there any toxicity when people move from our product and start adding stuff to it, right? And that's what I'm interested in. Because if there is, I want to alert people to the fact that there could be a potential problem, and please be aware of it, okay? But there is absolutely compatibility between colloidal silver and Delamune, and even some mushrooms that are used.
Yeah, well, John, we confirmed this also at Griffith University. Remember the colloidal silver we talk about is colloidal metallic silver, not the ionic silver or the silver salts or the silver chemicals. It's the pure silver atom. And silver, gold and platinum are three noble metals, and as you know, they don't react with very many things. I think so the only thing that reacts with silver is concentrated nitric acid, concentrated sulfuric acid, and potassium cyanide. And I reckon Delamune would act with about the same ones, and that's about it. So there's none of these in your body, so it's very safe.
You take me back 60 years to pharmacy school.
Only 60.